Welcome to another episode here with Queen City Reefs. For those that know this channel, thank you so much for supporting this channel. I really truly appreciate it. Thanks for coming on for another episode. This is actually going to be a good one. For those that are new, you are watching the best channel in the East Coast, the Carolinas, Queen City Reefs and more. So stay tuned. Make sure that if you like this video, you hit that like button. You make sure you leave a comment below. All right, so what I got for you today, we're actually going to be measuring par. Long story short, we had an actual club meeting here a few weeks ago, and I was under the impression that my par levels were at about 250 to 300 at the top of the rock work where all the SPS corals are at. And Jeff was able to prove me wrong. Not intentionally, of course, but you know, he brought his par meter and he measured, and I was actually at 150 to 175, which I found odd because all these corals that are at top are doing very well. But it still shocked me because the last time I did par measurements and I had not changed the lights, the only thing that changed was the T5 bulbs. I've changed them to from some old ones that were over a year old to some new ones. So the reason I was okay with doing par measurements was because I wanted to see if that had raised the par, being that there were new T5 light bulbs. And to my surprise, it was actually lower. So what are we doing today? I actually have three different par meters right here that we're going to be testing. It's going to be the Apogee MQ200. It's going to be the same Apogee, but the MQ510. And it's going to be the new ITC PARWISE. Now, I actually wanted to include the Senai because I actually have it, but I ran across an issue when I logged into my account that it wasn't wanting to register it for whatever reason. I've had this for so long, and they're saying that this was registered under a different email, which I'm assuming was an old email that I used. And so I had to email them to see if we can get that resolved. And due to time constraints, with the other par meters that I have, you know, this video here, I forgot to mention, this video is sponsored, guys. This video is actually sponsored. It's sponsored by Jeff, Michael, and Raysock. They don't know it yet, but the reason why is because the old meter, the MQ200, is actually property of the club that I'm part of, Raysock. The PARWISE is Jeff's, and the MQ510, I believe, the MQ510 is Jeff's and Michael's. They both own it, and they let me borrow it so that I can, you know, try to configure these lights to get to where I want to be. But I decided that while I have this equipment, I might as well make a video, right? Again, I had this too, and I hadn't used it in a long time. I had it stored, and it sucks that I'm not going to be able to actually include this. I'm going to do par measurements here in 3-4 specific areas that we can then later compare to what this says if I get it to work. And that will be where the orange tenuous is at, the orange passion tenuous, where the Sin City, cornbread Sin City tenuous is at, where this tabling acro is at, where the tub stellata, and where the bubblegum digi is at. And we might as well do some right here where the green hairy, the Australian green hairy mushroom is at, which is at the sand bed. I think these locations right here will demonstrate both where I have one of the G5s and where I have one of the G4s, and then the middle where the digitata and tub stellata is sort of the middle where the lights are at. So that will give us a good reading of where I am at. I could tell you, I don't remember the light bulbs that I have. Looks like I have a Coral Plus and a Purple Plus. So it's 2 Coral Pluses and 2 Purple Pluses on each side for the T5s. I have these lights. I have a G5 Blues and then the G4 Pros that are set at 75%. So that's where we are at. I still have 25% to work with, but I wanted to see where this was at in my current setting before I do anything. So we will, of course, start with one of the older models, the MQ200, and we're gonna see where the par measurements are at. One thing I've been told, and it's on the directions right there, that you have to compensate for about 10%. So there's a bit of math to make because these weren't made for LEDs. The one that's made for LEDs, especially blues, is the MQ510, but that's why we have this, so we can. So I don't expect this to be around the same par level as what the other two will read, but why not test it? All right, so right under the light right here, it shows 435 to 440. Under the G4, around the same area, 480, about 480. Again, under the G5, we are at about 440, 445. And then the G4, what is it showing?
493. It's kind of hard to see though.
So it's about 40, it's about 480, 485. So quite a bit, about 40 par more at the same distance. At the very top of the orange tenuous, I am getting, is jumping everywhere from 290 to 324, but here's where the numbers are at. I would say about 280. Then the tub stellata, at the top of the tub stellata, we are getting 240, 250. And then at the bubblegum digi, we are at same thing, about 240, 250. Now remember, this is the MQ200, so we're about to see where the other ones are at. Now I'm at the top of this cornbread Sin City, and this one is showing 290 to 300, but it jumps up from 270 to 300. And then finally, actually no, we got one more after this. And then here at the top of this tabling acro, we are anywhere between 260 and 300 too. So the ripples are causing all this jump. But yeah, so let's move forward. Here at the sand bed where the Australian green hairy mushrooms are at, I am getting, it's crazy, 220, 230, 245. This Ghani right here that's fully extended, I am at 280, 260, 270. And then this Fembraphilia, I think is what it's called, so Hammer Garden, I am at 180, 190. And they look great. So that's where we're at. Mainly I noticed that we're in the top 200s over here, medium to top 200s where the green hairy mushroom and this Ghani is at, and then top 100s where the hammers are at. So that is definitely definitely crazy to see, and we will see what the others measure at. Next, we're actually going to do the Apogee MQ510. I'm going to turn this on, and then I'm going to do the same thing right here. We're going to put it right under the light. This is what's crazy. So right under the light where the MQ200 measured the almost 500, so it was around 480 or so, I'm measuring 250 with this, with the MQ510. All right, so last but not least, we have the Parwise. This is going to be hard to get all the way down to the sand bed. Ooh, you know what? Let's see if it fits the same. Let's hope that it's the same dimensions. Yes, there we go. Same dimensions as the Senai, because it fit in this thing that's made for the Senai. So the beautiful thing about the PARWISE is that it's app controlled. So you actually can use your phone to get the readings, and you actually can get spectrum analyzer and all that stuff. Let's see. Right under the light, it's at 452. This is what the MQ200 measured. And so this is going to be a little hard to show y'all. But, you know, take my word for it. So I'll show you this. It's right under the light. It's at 430, 445. And let's take it down to right over the orange passion. That is at 230, 224, 235. So let me show you right there, right about the orange passion. I don't know if you're able to see that. That's the par measure. You know what? I can make it big. Yeah. So that's the par measurement right there, 251. That's on par with what the old MQ Apogee meter was reading. Then we are at the top of the tub stellata. That is reading at 200, 211, 205. At the top of the bubblegum digi, 188, 192. At the top of the Sin City, 242, 249, 233, 245. At the top of the Tabling Acro, 259, 244, 248. So we're around the 240 to 250 range. Where the hammers are at, we are, oh, that one measures, yeah, to 132, 137, when the other one was measuring at 150. So 127, 129. Right here where the Ghani's at, we are at 225, 223. Right here where the green hairy mushrooms are at, 195, 191, 189. So on the day that the club was here, they measured with both, and both had the same readings. Today I'm showing that the readings are way higher on this PARWISE. Today I'm seeing that the readings on the PARWISE are more on par with the Apogee MQ200, and this one is reading lower. All right, I got to make sure to get all this nice and clean to return it. All right, so there you have it. Between the old Apogee and the new one, it was way off. There's maybe some kind of issue going on with this, with the MQ510. When I measured with the MQ510 that the club had, I was actually reading the same readings that the PARWISE and that the MQ200 were reading today. So my conclusion is that the PARWISE is on par with the MQ510 because it was reading around the same. I would really like to get my hands on that club par meter. Let me know if you'd like to see that. And when I get the club meter in my hands, I'll see if Jeff will let me borrow the PARWISE again, and we'll do a comparison between those two. And hopefully at that time my Senai par meter, the old one, is active by then, and then I can do some par testings between the three and then go from there pretty much. But right now, as you can see, the par levels at the high level here of my acros are around the 250 to 280 range, and I do plan on actually bringing that up. I don't want to right now because, as you saw, some of these Ghani's are getting over 200 par, and I want to actually, I mean, they're doing great, and I know you would think don't change anything, but there are a few that are not, and I have them hidden back here in the shadow because they're not doing that great. I want to raise the par levels just to see if I can get more color out of a lot of these SPS, but I don't want to affect any of the LPS on the sand level because I don't know if they can actually take more par. It seems like the par at the SPS level is on the same level as some of the outer LPS. So those that are in towards the rock work that have a little bit of shade, you saw that it was in the 100 to 150 range. But those that are more towards the glass, and I'm assuming that's because of the reflection, they're getting like the 200, 250 range as well. So that is it. That is all I have for this video, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you tuning in. Let me know if there was something you would have wanted to see. For now, I'm actually going to do measurements across other areas just to make sure that my corals are where I want them to be. I'm going to do some par measurements on the anemone tank because I want to see right now. Last time that we measured, it was in the 100 ranges, and I know that these anemones like that higher par, so I want to see if that makes a difference for those anemones and maybe color them up more. And then I want to check the par levels in my quarantine tank so that I can make sure that the corals that are in there, I can slowly acclimate them to the par levels here before I move them over. So that being said, that is all I really have today. Thank you again so much for tuning in. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope to have earned your subscription and you hitting that like button. Again, leave a comment below. I'll catch y'all on the next one.
I play dead and I stay dead. Maybe you'll get sick of being the